Hey, what's up? Zach here, and today I've got the LeBron 19 Low, and even though it looks like a much different shoe than LeBron 19 High, it actually may suit the same class of players a little bit better than their counterpart. Let's get into it. Now, the first thing you'll notice in the 19 Lows is that it keeps the same booty liner or sock liner as its higher unit. However, in the 19 Low, that sock liner actually does a lot more for your foot and contributes a lot more to the stability versus on the higher model where it's kind of all one unit. Here on the 19 Low, as you see, the lace line goes right through this inner booty liner and then out here through the more textile liner. However, this liner on the Lows interacts with your foot a lot more intimately, and it kind of comes over the front part of your ankle a little more snug. So when you are lacing these up, you want to make sure you do get a nice tie down, a nice snug fit on this unit, because that's really what is holding your foot into this shoe. And along the lines of that lockdown, I really would recommend, if you're going to buy these, to take the laces out and put something else in, something maybe like a bubble lace or something that's just a little bit more tacky, has a little bit more feel, because I noticed the laces in the 19 Lows are actually a little bit elastic and it's kind of hard to keep them cinched when you're going up. So I'll leave a link to some bubble shoelaces down below, which actually really make these a much better lockdown of a shoe. But the other big reason you want those more high friction or bubble laces is because the ankle collar has so much padding coming up so high that it kind of wants to bounce off of your ankle when you're tying it down. It has a lot of memory to it. You really need something that's going to kind of have higher friction to keep it down, secure on your ankle. And as long as you do that, these will give you a nice secure fit in the ankle. If you don't really tie it really well, it is going to give you a lot more floppiness in there, a lot more opportunity for instability in the ankle and in the rear foot. Now, as you move into the forefoot of the 19 Lows, into the toe cap, you'll see this is that vegan leather or just synthetic leather. But the interesting thing is the laces actually go up into this unit and then come across. And that's actually the same way that we actually close 90-degree angles when we cut skin. That's called a corner stitch. And when you tie that, it actually makes that stitch come together more evenly. And it's the same thing in laces. It's going to more evenly give you tension in your forefoot, which isn't really a game changer. However, it is pretty interesting to see they're doing the same thing that we're doing in an operating room. Now, the rest of the uppers are just made of this caged mesh, which is where it seems like Nike's going with a lot of basketball shoes recently, which I do really like. In these bulkier basketball shoes, it does allow for a lot more breathability, but also Nike's kind of different ways that they incorporate woven or mesh uppers do stay really darn stable, and these, especially in the midfoot, did stay pretty stable for me even with a more open pore design. And on the upper durability test, the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, that vegan, faux, synthetic, whatever you want to call it, leather, actually did pretty good to the Dremel. Some pretty decent scuffing, however, it did not get through that faux leather top layer. So if you are a toe dragger or slider or play outdoors, this is still going to give you some pretty darn good durability. Now, getting into the midsole teardown, this really explained a lot of kind of what I was feeling on court when I was playing in these. And really, these aren't the most nimble shoes in the world when I was playing in them, which kind of surprised me because I thought with React foam in the forefoot, I'd probably have a little bit of a better feel on the ground under the balls of my foot. I could kind of get a little bit more tactile with that. However, when I was pivoting or kind of turning or trying to change directions or get a little bit fancy with my footwork, fancy for me at least, I really did notice it was kind of hard to get out of my own way in these shoes. And the reason for that just smacks you right in the face as soon as you open up the shoe. And that's that, now even though these do have a pretty normal heel to toe drop, the forefoot under the ball of your foot has the same height as the heel. So all the drop in the shoe happens from the ball of your foot to the toe. What that means is you're still sitting up really high underneath the ball of your foot, which means you're not going to get a lot of ground feel from these shoes, which means that even though they are going to give you a great first step bounce, you know, if you come down off of a rebound, you're trying to bounce back up in the air, or you're just trying to change directions, pivot, and then go, it is going to give you a tremendous bounce because there's a ton of React foam under you, which we know while the shoe is new just does give a lot of pop. If you are trying to kind of outwork an opponent or you're trying to create space for yourself, you better also have really good footwork just intrinsically within yourself, because these shoes are definitely going to kind of showcase your shortcomings in your footwork. At least they did mine. And so just watch out for that when you're using these, because even though they look like they're going to be a little bit more of a nimble shoe, they just aren't. But like I said, on the flip side of that clunkiness comes a lot of first and second step pop. I did notice as soon as I planted my foot and got my balance, these shoes were like a rocket ship on that next push off step. If you look at the jump height test, 35 centimeters, which is just as good as pretty much any other real high top, very jump force focused shoe. And these shoes are in a much kind of smaller, much lower footprint package. So if you do want a shoe that's going to give you a lot of pop from that first or second step, or just from a dead stop, these are definitely a great pickup for you. And I also just wanted to touch on the shared chamber Air Max units here in the rear foot. As you can see, the central crash pad is connected to the peripheral Air Max unit by these tubes here. Now, it is not like the LeBron 19 highs, where the Air Max units in the rear foot are also connected to the forefoot Zoom Air unit by these chambers. Now, when you're sharing air from front to back like the LeBron 19 high does, it allows your gait to be a lot more fluid. It gives you a lot more push-off force. That air in the shoe is almost like creating its own inertia. However, in the LeBron 19 lows, it's just sharing air peripherally, which means it's not going to give you a lot of more jump assist or push-off assist or gait assist with running. It's more just going to help balance the rear foot of the shoe. So if you're pressing down on one side, the air is going to inflate and deflate. So it is going to give you a little more of a balance, a little more stability than some other Air Max units, just not much in terms of that push-off force like we see in the LeBron 19 high. Now, getting into the outsole tread, it is pretty similar to its higher counterpart, except for the Nike React logo here under the inside or medial side of the shoe. Now, all these nubs here are the LeBron crown logo, which is interesting to look at. However, remember, because there's so many of these little nubs, there is a lot of air that can get under this. Now, if you're somebody that plays on outdoor courts and likes a little bit of forgiveness in the shoe, just a little bit of give when you're going to stop, these will actually work really well. I actually really like that feeling because when I wear tennis shoes, I like to slide a little bit on hard courts. So you look at the suicide test, I came in at 14.78 seconds, and that's just because I like the way these things grip on a hard court. They give me a little bit of forgiveness around corners, and like I said, that React foam gives you that really nice first and second step pop out of the shoe. So even though the shoe's a little more clunky, I was still getting fast times in these, just cut through the air really well, and I like the way they grip. However, if you are going to be buying these, I would not be buying one shoe for indoor and outdoor use. If you're going to wear these on an outdoor court, get the XDR version. If you're going to use these on an indoor court, get the regular version. The reason is because these nubs, as soon as they start wearing down, even though they are really durable, because you look at the durability test, the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, you're not really even a millimeter of damage, which is great. However, as soon as they do start wearing down, these are going to end up melding into each other because those air channels are so small, they're so narrow. And so then once you have just these flat little flanges here on the bottom, you're either going to, number one, hyperextend a knee, or number two, the shoe's going to slide out from underneath of you. So if you're going to use these on an outdoor court, just get the outdoor version, and then when they wear down, they wear down. If you're going to get them on an indoor court, preserve these nubs, because as long as these are still nubs and not flat flanges, they're going to grip okay. As soon as they're not, that's when you're going to go sliding. Now, the fit of the LeBron 19 lows is really surprising. They were actually really accommodating, especially with this real tapered forefoot. I was really surprised with how easy my foot felt in these shoes, just in my regular size. Now, I do think if you are above a 2E, I probably would go up that half size. Now, remember, these do come in an XDR EP version and a regular version, so I'd say if you're more of a narrow foot player, go with your true size in the regular version. If you're a wider foot player, go with your regular size in the EP version, or you can swap that. If you're going to get the regular and you're a wide foot, just go up a half size. And because there is such a huge stack of foam in the mid part of the shoe going all the way up to the junction of the forefoot, plus the pretty stiff shank, these are going to be great for someone that suffers from painful overpronation, flat foot, neutral foot, or even a high arch foot. However, if you are prone to ankle sprains, if you're a chronic ankle sprainer, because of that really big stack on the forefoot, these might become a little bit unstable for you. So if you are that profile, I probably would avoid these. And so I definitely think the best players for this shoe are the same for the LeBron 19 high, centers and power forwards looking for a shoe. They can give them a little bit of assist with some first push-off steps, something that's be a little bit more durable in the upper, something to kind of protect their foot in the paint. I honestly think these do a lot better than the LeBron 19 highs, to be honest. So if you are somebody looking between the two shoes, if it's me, I'm going to go with the lows, just because you get some of the same push-off power without some of the clunkiness of the highs. But of course, I'd love to know your thoughts. Are you someone that's kind of looking to get into the LeBron 19 lineup with the lows, or are you going to stick to more of the higher top version? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to check out the older sibling to the LeBron 19 low, the LeBron 19, make sure you click in this video up above and subscribe down below. Respect your rubber and foam. I'll see you in the next video.